There was
I
an
haven't
impressive
figured out.
line at PCC this morning. I think the line probably of cars went for about a half a mile, all the way to Allen on Del Mar.
Wow.
That's for the COVID vaccine? Oh,
Yeah, they're using the
Oh.
parking garage at PCC.
okay.
Okay.
I had mine at El Sereno Recreation Center.
Right. Yeah.
Very convenient, very close to where I live. And I'm getting my second shot on the February the 16th.
Okay.
Did you do
Are
Moderna
you
or
getting Pfizer? Are
It's
you getting
Moderna. Yeah, I think
Moderna.
at the very large sites.
What
the
type of shot are you
Pfizer.
getting, Molly?
Pardon?
What kind of shot did you get, Molly?
I got the Moderna at Dodger Stadium.
Okay, I'm just interested in how some people are getting the Moderna and others are getting the Pfizer shot.
Right.
I heard someone say that if you call the center, the only way to find that out for sure is to call the center, and they'll tell you what shot they're giving on what day, because apparently it can change, So if that matters to you, you've got to get to that level of kind of contacting them to find out. I was on a call that the parent fund for the University of Colorado Boulder did for parents. And they talked about what they're doing there at Boulder for, COVID. And they have this biological pioneer program there. And they've actually done some really interesting stuff that they're doing just at the university. But they were saying, really, whether it's Moderna or Pfizer, that level of distinction really shouldn't be something that you're worrying about.
Good.
And then I guess these new ones that are coming up, they're just the efficacy may be lower, but the cases that become serious and are hospitalized, the numbers look like they're very strong. So there's a difference between the vaccine preventing spread and preventing the illness, and then preventing who becomes hospitalized. And that's something I hadn't known about, really. So
I'd be interested to hear about people's feedback when they get the second shot and any side effects or any effects at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marie had her second shot. What's today? Thursday. So she had her second shot on Tuesday. She felt fine, and then yesterday she kind of felt a little chills and achiness, but today she feels fine. So I heard it hits you a little harder, the second one. Yeah.
I think some people have a preference for the Moderna versus the Pfizer or whatever, but I think the philosophy that can be applied here is don't let perfect be the enemy of good.
Yeah, that's a great way to say that.
Yet, take it.
On vaccinatela.com, I think you could choose. I can't remember now. It's been a while ago since I went on.
Okay. All right, folks, we will get started. As we remember that February is Peace and Conflict Month in the Rotary world, I call the February 2nd, 2021 meeting of the Rotary Club of San Marino to order. We are truly a club that
Makes a difference.
makes a difference. Yes, thank you. Please stand and join me in reciting the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First,
Is it
Is it the truth?
second,
Is it
Is it fair to all concerned?
third,
Will it build goodwill and better friendship?
friendship
fourth,
Will it be
Be
beneficial?
beneficial to all concerned?
concern.
Thank you. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation led today by Fred Soul. Thank you for stepping in, Fred.
Pleasure. Join me. I pledge
I pledge
allegiance
Allegiance
to the
to the
flag
flag
of
of
the
the
United
United States of
United States
America
of America,
and to the republic
for
which it
which
stands,
Nation.
one nation,
nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty
liberty
and
and
justice
and
for all.
justice for all.
And as the invocation, Let us offer thanks for our good fortune and blessings for one another. Let us be a source of hope and support for those in need and to those struggling in these challenging times. Let us give gratitude for our opportunity to serve Rotary, and let the empowering bonds of kindness, kinship, and community guide our every action.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you. Thank you very much again for stepping in. Okay, introduction, I guess. I see we have one guest today, Diane Faulkner. Are you there?
Hi, I am here, and I was invited by Bill Payne to sit in on the Rotary meeting. I'm going to be your speaker in a few weeks. So
Okay, great.
just to get an idea of what's going on, and I'm a former Rotary ambassador sponsored by this club. So
Oh,
very pleased to be sitting in on the meeting. Thank you.
Great, welcome. Okay, fantastic. All right, next we'll do the Pass the Polio Pig, the Pandemic Pig. You can just raise your envelopes and your contributions. I see you, Stephanie and Denise and Lois Derry,
I have
and
mine.
Lois Matthews and Barbara Weiss. Thank you all. Thank you, Gilda. All right, perfect. Okay, member anniversaries. We have one anniversaries, no birthdays, and Kaylee Chang celebrates 4 years with San Marino Rotary on February 2nd. So congratulations to Kaylee. And we will move on to announcements. Stephanie Johnson, you are first.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to remind everyone that we're holding the chili cook-off on February 18th. If you would like a lunch, please let me know, and we will have one ready for you to pick up from my house. The morning, starting at 10 o'clock in the morning before the meeting. And we're looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a fun lunch and event.
Okay. Any questions about the chili cook-off?
Stephanie, are we delivering to people who can't make it to your house to pick up lunch?
If someone needs to have their lunch delivered, we can do it. I know someone's picking up for Lucille, but so far she's the only one who's we're delivering to.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good question. Any other questions? Okay. Next, we have Barbara Weiss.
Thank you, Aaron. Next week, February 11th, we're going to have Dr. Lori Morgan, who's CEO of the Huntington Memorial Hospital, speak to us. And Kathy Chadwell, whom many of you remember was a student at San Marino High School. We have been working together. She's now the Executive Director of Philanthropy and Community Outreach at the hospital. Been there over 20 years. I have to take a deep breath because she's a former student. But Kathy and I have been working on organizing the questions into sort of 3 categories. So Dr. Morgan will obviously be taking the questions that have been submitted on COVID, most of them, and she'll do her best. She's right there and knows what's going on. She'll also talk a little bit about the state of the hospital, the alliance with Cedars-Sinai. She can, as much as she can, talk about that. And then some of the challenges that the hospital will be facing in the coming years. We will save a little time for people to ask questions about any or unanswered questions she'll take time for at the end. But feel free to invite a guest, and we look forward to having her come next week. Thank you.
Hi, it's Diane Falconer again. I know this is a little out of turn, but Barbara Weiss, I recognize you. I was Diane Harwich Falconer.
Oh my God. Oh
yeah,
my
and
God.
You just announced the 2 people you just announced are Huntington Memorial Hospital. Is that correct?
That's correct. And you
okay,
probably know
I've been up all night. My brother Matt Harwich's wife delivered her baby last night at Huntington Memorial Hospital. She's also a nurse at the hospital. And it was an emergency C-section that was very, very touch and go, and she's in OR right now. But anyway, that hospital is just so incredible. So just wanted to chip in there.
Well, I hope, Diane, I remember you vividly, And I hope you will come and hear Dr. Morgan next week. And we all send our best wishes to your sister-in-law.
Thank you.
Great. Barbara, would you give us a couple of samples of the kind of questions you're getting so far? Just to kind of spur out some ideas.
One of them that's interesting to me is how doctors, your own doctor, remember the old line, if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. One of the questions was, if you're admitted to the Huntington and your doctor admits you, then there's this hospitalist at the hospital. And how does the hospitalist work together with your doctor? I'm not going to give you the answer now. You have to wait until next week. But then there are questions about how this alliance is going to work with Cedars. Is the Huntington going to be independent? How are they working together? Why did this whole thing come about? So I think it'll be an interesting program, and she's very good at answering questions. So
great. Okay, Bill, you have a question? Bill Payne?
Yeah. Diane was our second Rotary Ambassador Scholar. She is also our speaker on March 11th. She lives in Massachusetts, which gives us an advantage to have a speaker so far away. So we, in setting this up for her for when she speaks, said would she like to see how we roll, so that when she's up to bat, she can know how a Zoom Rotary San Marino meeting works. So it's on a lot of fronts that we welcome Diane to San Marino Rotary. It's been a long time, too long.
Great. Thank you so much, Bill. Thank you. And again, welcome, Diane.
Thank you. And she's not on video because she's been up all night and she's a complete mess.
That's okay. That's
happy to be
okay.
part of it.
That's okay. Thank you. All right. I don't see Paul Broussard here, but I just wanted to publicly thank him. He stepped in and is taking over the Dan Stover music competition. So we are continuing with the Dan Stover music competition despite the challenges that we're presented with, especially with presenting music on Zoom and all that stuff. So he's trying to find a solution to that. So if you see Paul, please, give him a pat on the back and thank him. That'll be March 12th. We'll be continuing to have the Dan Stover music competition. So thank you to Paul Broussard. Do we have any more announcements? If you do, please raise your hand. Okay. We have 2 craft talks scheduled today. One person had to bow out at the last minute due to illness. So we are going to listen to Dr. Lin today, and Molly's going to provide his introduction, and we'll start with that. So if you have any questions, please write them down. I'm sure Dr. Lin, very articulate fellow, so he'll be able to answer any questions you throw at him. So Molly?
Thank you, Aaron. And I just want to reiterate, Devin Corlew, really, she sends her apologies, and she's just really disappointed that she's not going to be able to deliver her talk today, but she will be doing that sometime soon. And now I would like to introduce Dr. Mike Lin. Dr. Lin obtained his bachelor's degree in engineering. He earned his master's degree in business administration and his doctor's degree in educational leadership, which he will be talking a little bit more about. He worked on Wall Street before becoming an educator, and he and his family live in San Gabriel. And so now I would like to introduce you, Dr. Mike Lin, who is, I'm not so sure that I said this, the principal of K.L. Carver School.
Thank you, Aaron and Molly, and thank you everyone for having me present my craft talk today. Aaron, I shared the link to my slides. I don't know if you could help present that for our group.
Yes, let me pull that up. And just cue me whenever you're ready to move to the next slide.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so today is February 4th, and I looked up on Google. It's also the World's Cancer Day, World Cancer Day. Hopefully with the discovery of CRISPR and mRNA science, we will have a cure for cancer soon. Next slide, please. So this is a quick professional bio. I'm currently the principal of Carver School since 2016. I joined our school district in 2015 as the assistant principal of HMS. Prior to that, I was an administrator in Temple City, 2 years at the district office as a curriculum person, and also 1 year as the CTO, Chief Technology Officer. And I was also the principal of La Rosa Elementary School for 5 years. I taught high school and college math before I became an administrator, and also advanced placement computer science. I worked for Wall Street before becoming an educator in projects such as the Y2K, which is the year 2000. Imagine that, 21 years ago. And the European Monetary Union, stock decimalization. Prior to that, stocks were in fractions. I earned my MBA and also Series 7, which allows me to do some basic financial transactions and accounting for clients. I changed my path after 9/11. This was amazingly 2 decades ago, to seek purpose at that time and pursue a career in education. And here, let me explain some of the pictures here. So that's my wife right there to the left, pointing to one of the burning towers, Twin Towers, on 9/11. And it was quite traumatic that morning, of course. So that was facing south. Now facing west, that is Baruch College. And beyond that, there is that beige looking tower. That is Credit Suisse First Boston, where I used to work as in investment banking. And to the north, that's the Empire State Building. And then to the east, that's the East River beyond Cynthia, my wife right there. At that time, she was wearing the ponytail, but it was a horrific morning that morning, which was a catalytic time of my life in terms of pursuing a different purpose and seeking more meaning. Okay, next slide, please. Okay. I earned a full tuition scholarship to the Cooper Union for the Advancement of Science and Art. And I earned my MBA from the Zicklin School of Business in New York City. In the previous slide, that was the Baruch College. That was where I got my MBA. And I was also teaching mathematics afterwards in the evenings. My EDD, just like Dr. Wilson, I think he's here too, is from the Azusa Pacific University. The cougar is our mascot, and that was the ceremony right there where I got the caping ceremony. And then to the right, that's my parents, and then Cynthia is my wife right there. Next slide, please. Okay, so organizations and awards. I'm a member of the California School Boards Association, also the Los Angeles County Schools Trustees Association, also known as LACSTA, Association of California School Administrators, ACSA, California Association of School Business Officials, CASBO. I finished my CBO credential license recently. And 2 awards that I'm really proud of are the 2018 California Distinguished School Award for Carver School, as well as the 2020 National Blue Ribbon Award. I would say the greatest success, my greatest success would be the success of my kids and my students. Next slide, please. In 2018, I ran for office. And to the top right-hand corner, you can see that that was my swearing-in ceremony. And interestingly, the oath was the same oath taken by Biden and Harris, except of course, for the job title. And I completed the Masters in Governance program with the California School Boards Association, and there's the certificate to the lower left-hand corner. I live a mile away from Carver School where I work, and I serve as a school board member in the Temple City Unified School District. You can say that I have the best of both worlds, which is all based on service and building a better future through people and for people at the local level. Next slide, please. Okay, now my family history and where I came from, who I am, I guess I found some pictures that I would like to share. To the top left-hand corner is my dad. This was taken about 1942, so you could do the math as to his age. And the bottom, that baby on the lap of my grandmother, that baby is my mom. So that was taken about 1945-ish. There are other pictures next to my dad, the baby picture to my dad, that's my dad at age 18. Sitting there next to him, that's his grandmother. And if you look closely to her tiny little feet, back in the day when she was a kid, her feet were bound in China. And that was the tradition for women, to keep women at home for many hundreds of years. And that was what the culture was in China. Below that is a picture of my great-grandfather, my great-grandmother's husband. Next to that, there are a lot of different, I guess, accolades and awards. And that was earned by my uncle, my dad's brother, from the Taiwan military. And he was a general, so he's a retired general. He lives in California now. So let me share something before I move on to my uncle. Now, my mom's side, she comes from a lineage that dates back to the 17th century, during the reign of Emperor Kanshi. And we have a family encyclopedia of who's who of the last 300 years. So it's like the Britannica version for her family. We have a copy of it. Actually, she has a copy of it. If I want to take a look, it's at her house. And it's 300 years of service to the emperor, basically. And there was this meritocracy of the examination system. So each generation pretty much would take the exam and then get qualified to serve as a government official under the emperor. Now, back to my uncle, who's a retired general. Now he's in Los Angeles. And then the picture of my dad playing the piano next to him. They're brothers, but they have two very different life's trajectories. My dad being the eldest born, there's a concept in Chinese, it's a tradition of filial piety. Basically, you worship your ancestors and you basically respect your elderly, and you respect your parents and of course your grandparents. So the bottom right-hand picture are my grandparents, my grandfather and grandmother, before they passed away. And so my grandparents, my dad's parents, kept my dad in China to take care of the grandmother who couldn't walk because her feet were tiny, couldn't walk too well. During 1949, when the Communist Revolution happened, the family was split. And so my uncle, who was still a baby at that time, he was taken to Taiwan, brought to Taiwan. And then my dad, being the eldest, due to filial piety, the idea is to take care of your mother, right? Which is my dad's grandmother. So they stay behind. My dad's grandmother couldn't walk, couldn't travel. And so the idea was to keep the eldest to take care of the mother. So the brothers were split and their life's trajectory was very different. And so the family retreated to the Republic of China in Taiwan. My grandfather served as a minister under General Chiang Kai-shek. Father was left behind, and he went through the Cultural Revolution. He was persecuted because his father was in Taiwan and the communists were still fighting the nationalists. It wasn't until 1979, end of the 70s, when Nixon did the détente with mainland China, then my father then applied to immigrate to the US under a student's visa. And they were united. The family was reunited after 30 years in the US. Okay, next slide, please. So my immediate family, as you can see, I can say I have 4 kids, 4 children, 2 of which are furry. That is, I have 2 dogs and 2 daughters. And to the top left-hand corner, that is my wife standing there and my 2 kids. And this was Volman's bookstore. And every time they go there, the first thing they do is they want to see the latest books on dogs. So you can say we are dog lovers. Below that, that is Mocha. We hike a lot. She's very active, and she's my hiking buddy. And Charlie is also extremely sweet. Charlie's our other dog, and he likes to take naps. He's on the older side. He's, I think, in dog years, maybe like 87, possibly, in the 80s already. Okay, next slide, please. So we love the outdoors. We love camping. And when I go out with my with my kids and parents, if they are able to join us, we go glamping. That is the way the kids and my wife prefer, the outdoors. We have an RV. We love traveling. Anytime we get, we are outdoors. And we've been to Yosemite. I would say that the happiest place for me would not be Disney, but would be Yosemite, or the ocean, or the beach somewhere. Actually, anywhere outdoors is my happiest place. So we love hiking and camping and backpacking, and watching the stars. Okay, next slide, please. So when I'm not glamping, and when the kids are, not interested in the outdoors and they have other things to do, then I go solo camping, solo hiking. And so this is top right-hand corner. You're gonna see that's my solo tent. It's triangular somewhat because it cuts down on the weight. I don't have to carry too much. And the center one is, I would say, the lightest shelter I can carry. It's a poncho top. So it serves two purposes. When it rains, you use it as a poncho. And when I'm ready to break camp, then it's my shelter for the evening. That was taken on the PCT a couple of years ago. And you can see that my favorite meal will be Mountain House, anything Mountain House. It is just delicious. Could never get tired of Mountain House. I consider myself pretty lucky and inspired. You can see the inspiration point. I'm up there a lot. And also you can see the 4-leaf clover. I didn't pluck that. It would be, I guess, unlucky if I plucked that. But look at the size of that thing, 4-leaf clover. In the center, my kids, when they were a little bit younger, this was 3 or 4 years ago, we were up in San Jacinto. And they enjoy hiking too whenever they have a chance to hike with daddy. We were hiking up to Echo Mountain. So picnic with daddy on the weekends, whenever we can. And so that's pretty much my craft talk for today. Any questions?
Mike, can we hire you out as like a hiking, camping guide?
Well, we could form a hiking group. What's happening is I've been talking about hiking and then, using nature as a therapy, especially during COVID. And I mean, whenever we have time, it's safe to go out there with, good social distancing and masks. I got a group of teachers interested in hiking. And so I haven't joined them. They're like, Mike, you love hiking, you got to join us. So it is extremely, I would say, therapeutic. For me, what I like to do is, for solo hiking, I like to stay overnight. And for me, that is just extremely cleansing. And I come down from a hiking trip and all the issues and challenges are tiny. And it's also perspectives too. When I'm up on Henniger Flats, looking down, looking at those tiny little cars on the 210 freeway and looking at those tiny little houses, and you're like, okay, those are individual worlds for people down there, right? And they all have their problems, they all have their challenges, they all have their joys, all human experiences. And then from that perspective, it is, wow, tiny, And so it gives a different perspective. As John Muir would say, it is spiritual. Nature is very spiritual. Also, when my kids were younger, when they were in kindergarten and preschool, we used to camp out up in Henniger, or we'll hike up from Chantry to Hoji. And so on Henniger, we could see the planes lined up, and they'll line up to land. And then when the stars come out, we will connect the dots. I mean, they were so young, and I was talking about Greek mythology to them. We came down from that trip and they said, Daddy, I want to learn more about Zeus, you know? Yeah. And I was like, great, all right. Okay, each one of you got $100 on Amazon to purchase whatever books you want to read about Greek mythology. And they soaked it up. You know, when they were in first grade, they could tell me about all sorts of heroes, about, you know, Greek myth. And then they got into Egyptian myth. They got into other mythologies. I'm like, great. Now, anytime there's a category on Jeopardy, in Jeopardy about mythology, they're like right there. They'll be the ones buzzing in at home.
Any close encounters of the animal kind, Mike?
Constantly, especially when I'm camping overnight. I would hear rustling. It could be raccoons, coyotes. I came across bears multiple times, rattlesnakes. I'll hike up to Mount Wilson, for example. And there was once where I heard a rustle and I thought, okay, there's just birds and squirrels, right? No, I just proceeded, and right behind me, this was this massive, huge fur ball rolling down the hill, ran across the trail. Now actually hit the trail with a thud, and then ran across the trail and then went down the slope. And I looked, there was this big brown bear. They're very powerful. I ran into cubs a couple of years ago and thought, oh my God, I'm done. You know, you don't want to see cubs. Cubs are scary. They're cute, but you know, mama bear's just around them. For me, when I see cubs, I back off. Okay, I'm gonna just give them the space, you know, make some noise just so that they know I'm there and I don't want to startle them. Rattlesnakes, yeah, they rattle and they warn you. They don't want to mess with you. You don't want to mess with them. I would say my worst fear, or the animal that I'm afraid of the most is the tick. I've gotten ticks on me. They'll crawl up, and then when I'm camping out each night, I'll search for ticks, and if I find them, it's like, oh, thank you. I don't want to get Lyme disease, you know. So I would say the mighty tick is the worst animal out there. Bears are fine. I haven't come across any grizzlies because I don't hike up to, you know, Alaska or anything. But brown bears are fine.
Mike?
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Actually, thank you so much for sharing all of your information with us. Did you say that your grandfather was a minister under Chiang Kai-shek?
Yeah. He was a major under General Chiang Kai-shek when they were still in Shanghai. So he, in the 20s, so he was born, let me see, he was born 1919. So I guess when he was, so he was one of the few people who got a college degree from Shanghai, before the, I guess, the Communist Revolution. And then Chiang Kai-shek appointed him to serve in the military. He became a major. Then when they retreated to Taiwan, he continued to serve under General Chiang Kai-shek.
Wow.
Okay, thank you, Molly. Russ, you have a question?
Yeah, so you mentioned that you were a Wall Street person in your previous life, and I'm kind of interested to hear your perspective about the recent, GameStop and AMC and all that. I wonder what your perspective is, because you probably, have some insight there.
Yeah, so when I ran for office in 2018, I sold all my holdings, all my securities, because there's a form I gotta file. It's just possible conflict of interest. So I basically liquidated anything that's securities related. So in some sense, I haven't really looked into it. I heard about the news about GameStop, and I think the trend is towards more democracy. That's what I'm understanding. But personally, I don't hold any securities at this point because I'm an elected official, and it's just a lot of paperwork to justify every single security instrument that I have. So I guess once I stop becoming, once I become a regular citizen again and not just an officer, then maybe I'll get back into, stocks.
Okay. Thank you, Russ. Denise?
That kind of segued into, like you, I've had multiple lives. I was in molecular biology and biochemistry before I made this leap into autism and special needs. So, Mike, for you, what do you think one of your next chapters will be after you retire?
I feel like I'm already retired. This is what I get to do. I mean, I shared earlier, I have the best of both worlds right now. I enjoy what I do. There's a main reason I joined this field is because I enjoy helping people.
I explained that to my kids today, that if you enjoy your work, you'll never work a day in your life. And these are 8th grade boys who are kind of frustrated right now with online. So what would you tell them? I know what I told them, but what would you tell them are key things to know in order to be successful in life?
The key thing for me, I tell my kids all the time is time is finite. You could earn money if you get interested in something, because interested people are interesting, right? And the thing is, money can be earned and lost, but time cannot be regained. Time is finite.
Thank you, Dr. Lin. Thank you, Denise. Maurice?
Thanks, Dr. Lin. That was a great presentation. So I just have some simultaneous news, and I thought I would ask you with the question. So Dr. Ferrer had announced that LA County schools were going to start allowing outside entities to use the field. So I'm on the San Marino Little League board for District 17, which encompasses our area. So the schools look like they might be able to start immediately using San Marino field. So can you talk about how the pandemic has affected how you're communicating with kids, and what do you think the effect has been on children, and how are we going to, I don't know that kids will be able to just like jump back into the classroom. What's your expectation and how everyone will re-enter? And what do you have, I mean, if this was to happen, let's say at the end of February, what do you think the ramp up time would be to some type of new normality?
Yes, certainly. We have to make sure it's done safely, right? We don't want kids to. I mean, kids are pretty good. What I've been reading and understanding is that their T2 receptors are not really well developed, so maybe that's why they're not getting COVID as much as the adults do. But they also live within the community of adults. They live at home, they're adults at home. We want to make sure it's done in a safest way possible. And my feeling is that there is certainly learning loss happening, and this is not just at the San Marino level or the county level or the state level, it's international. So each locality and the way that our founding fathers established education in America is local control. It's locally determined. You have the trustees board, school board members who are elected to represent a local community. There are also county health ordinances, health laws, health orders that we comply with. And parents will compare us with Orange County, like, oh, they have, schools open there. But those are different localities of, people elected based on different politics. So we do have local control, and in some sense, this level of local democracy allows us to express local voices much better. Like, for example, China, mainland China, they could close down, 80 million people, and there are no rights. I don't think that is something that will work here in America. But sorry, can't get that. Sorry, I'm still on the clock, Dr. Wilson, right? All right, I'll get that later. So the concern for me as an educator and as a parent is the learning loss that's happening. And what can we do, not only from the academic sense, but also from a social, emotional, mental health standpoint as well. kids are resilient, but we cannot take that for granted. We have to, as adults, we have to be prepared. But also, we want to ensure that our staff and our teachers, the priority is always that, you know, we have the well-being and safety. That has to always be our top priority.
Hey, can I interrupt, Maurice? I'm so impressed that you were on that bit of information. We actually just got official word this morning that after school groups may return to campuses. So I actually have been on the phone already with Daisy Wilson today to let her know that great news. She was ecstatic and couldn't wait to communicate to the Little League. Yeah. So we're gonna work real hard at the district to remove any barriers to getting the Little League kids back out on those fields as quick as we can.
Thank you, Dr. Wilson. Any more questions for Dr. Lin? Please raise your hand. Okay, I have a question, Dr. Lin. Can you explain to everyone what the PCT is and how, what leg did you hike? Did you do the whole thing from from bottom to top, or? Yeah.
No, I mean, I was somewhat telling the full truth about I feel like I'm retired, but if I'm really retired right now, I would do the PCT, which is 6 months long. It is 2,500 miles from the Mexican border to the Canadian border. That is in my bucket list. Dr. Wilson, I'm not quitting anytime soon. I'm not, and don't fire me so I could do the PCT. But this is something that what I do is, when I close my eyes, sometimes I imagine I'm on the PCT. And there's a short segment on the PCT, which is 211 miles long. It's called the JMT, John Muir Trail. PCT stands for the Pacific Crest Trail. It is 6 months long. I wish I could do it. So it inspires me because I get to keep myself as fit as I can because I pretend I'm training for it, right? Can I do it? Yeah, I would. I think I'll lose my health doing it to some extent. There are certain sections that are dangerous. I don't know, if you Google it, there are people who have done this and they come back with injuries. And I'm like, am I ready for injuries? Or can I use that as a motivation tool so I could do these local hikes and push myself, for example, to Mount Wilson, which is a 20-mile loop, you know, hiking up 10 miles, hiking down. It's a full day, you know. That pushes me by imagining that, oh, what if I were to do the PCT and I got to do it every day for 6 months, you know?
Okay. And then I guess the second part to this question is like, what is the longest you've hiked on your own? Does it get lonely? Is explain, I guess, what are your feelings while you're hiking and being around nature?
Right. So I hiked a section of the PCT. Longest time was 3 days, 3 nights, 4 days. Yes, I got homesick. And this is what happened. I have a dehydrator at home. And so Cynthia, my wife, she loves to cook, by the way. We love dogs, and Cynthia is a nutritionist. So she's getting her degree in dietetics. And she loves to cook. I love to eat. And it's a match made in heaven. So she would cook and she'll prepare food and it's just delicious. And I would dehydrate it, right? So there was this one trip on the PCT, this was the San Jacinto section. And I rehydrated that meal and oh my God, it just all a flash of memories and Cynthia was not there and okay. So what I did was instead of a week-long trip, I cut it short, went back home. So there's my kryptonite right there. Okay. I don't think I could do a 6 months without Cynthia. So what we do, we have an alternative. We go glamping. We have our camper.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Lin. Do we have any more questions for Dr. Lin? Okay. Sensing that's the only, no more questions. Dr. Lin, thank you so much for providing your craft talk today, everyone. Please give a round of applause.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Lin. Thank you, Molly, for putting that together. Okay, since we had a cancellation, I thought that we can go over 2 things. One is a short video on Rotary Peace Fellow, and I think this is apt for our guest that's here today. This is a 2-minute video, and I just want to ensure that it plays and you can hear it. Please give me a thumbs up or down. Try that one more time, 1 second. Optimize video clip. Okay, let's hope this works. One more time.
I'm the CEO of Red Dot Foundation. It's a not-for-profit in India as well as in the US, and our main work is sexual violence prevention.
Right now I'm based in Bangkok, building up a social enterprise network, supporting smallholders farmers in moving to sustainable agriculture.
One of my passions is working with youth, providing mentorship, and drawing out the leadership and skills that so many of our young people have.
I've been involved with Aikido for over 35 years. I have been working a lot with traumatized clients, especially from abuse, from domestic violence.
I'm the founder and CEO of The Female Voice, a global hub for females to empower the world.
My work is to build bridges between communities, to make sure that communities understand each other, to create receptivity for immigration.
I work now at the Sanitation and Water for All partnership. What we do as a partnership is to really catalyze action around the water, sanitation and hygiene.
Some of the skills that I took back from the Rotary Peace Fellowship program was better communication in the non-violent space.
If we can support the economic development in a very sustainable way, I believe that we have a chance for building a peace platform.
First of all, we are a family of Peace Fellows, and we see ourselves as change agents in the community.
The fellowship creates sort of this hotbed of growth and evolution for peace builders, for people advocating for social change.
The training for me, it helped because I did not just come out as somebody who understands development policy, but I also have this insight into peace and conflict resolution.
It's my personal experience that Aikido can bring peace from within, and then you can expand that to other people through your interaction.
And if you have the passion and you have the desire to make change in your community or in the world, you're the right person for this program.
Okay, did everyone able to hear that? Okay, great. I just thought it'd be nice to share, especially being that it's Peace and Conflict Month. If you have anything to share this month, please feel free to send it over. Oh, 1 second. YouTube is still on in the background. Okay, all right, thank you. Any questions about that or any comments? Denise, please.
Just to add that District 5300 has been holding a peace conference. And even though Dr. Deryagian passed away earlier last month, we are beginning the planning of the 32nd annual peace conference in his honor next Friday. So my husband and I will chair the Art for Peace competition again. And we hope that if there's anyone who would be interested in being involved or have speakers that they think might be good for this conference, please let me know. Mike Dreby has been our MC for years and years, and we've got a great team. So that is something that is unique in our Rotary world, and we do it really well. Thanks.
Thank you, Denise.
Roger Schulte is going to be our chair. I'm sure he's going to do a great job, and we're looking forward to ensuring that Garbus's legacy is carried on.
Roger is a former principal and administrator, a great teacher, and a wonderful human being.
Yeah.
Thank you both.
PDG.
Thank you both. Mary, do you have a question?
I do. I guess maybe for Denise or Mike, but could you describe what the Peace Conference is and how it works?
Well, generally speaking, we pick a theme and then we find panelists who come out and speak to that theme based on their own experiences. And we afford the audience an opportunity to ask questions. And we hope that everyone will come away with some action items that they can take with them and begin to work for peace in their own homes, their own communities, their own regions. And every year the theme is slightly different. And this year we are looking at a theme based on ending, what it takes to address racism. There can be no peace while racism exists. I mean, that's sort of in a broad stroke what it's going to be this year, but that hasn't been finalized as of yet.
And in the past, Mary, the online peace conference that we had last fall was free for everyone. And we had an amazing person from United Nations, World Bank. He had like 7 doctoral degrees, but he was explaining how COVID will impact the economy, especially in developing nations, and children will never go back to school there. And that's something that's really important for us because we, for instance, in Africa have just been qualified, it's on the front of your Rotary magazine, as polio free there. There's so much that we need to do and that we can work together. And here's the most important part. He said, you've got 1.2 million Rotarians. If 1% of them had a brilliant idea, the World Bank would fund it. And that's something that there are so many bright people in Rotary. I think that's really important for us. If 1% had brilliant ideas, because we're $1 billion foundation, but they give multi billions of dollars. So we need to put our thinking hats on and really do good in the world.
And who is the audience?
Primarily Rotarians, Rotaractors, Interactors, and folks from the general public. The idea is, we as Rotarians, one of our focus areas is peacemaking, peace building, yet not too many districts are involved actively in doing that. So this was really founded as a means to raise awareness. And so that's our primary audience. But our online events are open to anybody who's interested. And we may do a hybrid online, in person. We don't know what it's going to look like, but those are some of the things we'll hammer out.
And I think it's important for you to know that we have what are called RAGs in Rotary, Rotary Action Groups. And peace and conflict resolution is one of the RAGs, Mary. There are also ones that are just for fun, like there's the beer drinking RAG, and there's the glamper RAG, and there's the ones for polio, and there's the ones for malaria. And when we go, and I hope you all join me in Houston, when we go to the big convention down there next year, this year's Taiwan, next year's Houston, easy flight, go into that house of friendship, and you will weep. You will literally weep when you see how many amazing humans are doing unbelievable work in our world. So I hope you join me.
Thank you, Denise, and thank you, Mike, for guiding that conversation. Thank you, Mary, for your important question. Okay, I just wanted to do one more thing before we let you go, is to give a quick website tour. I know we've done this before, but I just want to do it again, and just thought of the 4 most common questions that we get. Is number 1 is, where are our Zoom videos? So if you go to San Marino Rotary.org and you scroll down to this little green box and you click on meeting videos, you will see a list. And for some reason, our website is really slow today, so my apologies. I don't know if it's mine or the website. So you will see a list of past programs. If you click this little plus sign, you should see the video pop up here, and there's a video, so just press play. So I want to just thank Chris for putting these videos up every single week. He does them within, I would say, like 24, 48 hours after our meeting. So anytime you want to see a past meeting, go ahead and do that. So any questions on that? For some reason, I can't see you all, but if you do, just blurt them out. The other question we commonly get is, who's our speaker? And this is a really simple one. So if you go to club events and then upcoming speakers and events, that should pop up here soon. Okay, you'll see a calendar of speakers, the upcoming speakers, and the programs committee does a good job on updating this information. If you wanted more info on a particular speaker, you just click on that more info and you'll see usually see their bio in here and what the subject matter is that they're going to be speaking about. All right, and
Aaron?
then, yes, go ahead.
For those of us who are technologically challenged, can we share those past videos with other people?
Absolutely. So if you, let me show you how to do that. And it's a couple of steps. So if you go down here, meeting videos, okay, there's two ways you can do this. The easiest way is just to go back to this little web address, highlight it all, copy it, and send that link, and let them know that they have to kind of look at the date that they want to look at. Just drop down the date and they can look at the videos. The second way is for you, if you want to make it even easier for them, is to just click on the little title and then it directs you straight to YouTube, Dennis, and you would just copy that link and send it to your intended party.
Okay. Thank you so much, Aaron.
Okay, you got it. All right. The third most common question we get is, who chairs X committee? So who's in charge of committee? And if you go to About Our Club and you click on, club committees, you'll get a list of all our committees, and that should come up soon. Okay, here's a list of all our committees, and if you wanted to see who was the chair of RILA, you just click on RILA. And this should be updated. I know I've noticed there's a couple of updates that we need to do, but there you go. Rob Fiedler's our chair for RILA, and you need to contact him. I believe you can click this and it emails directly to him. So that's a nice little shortcut if you need to get that quickly. And then lastly, it's not on our website, but the one most common question is our Zoom link. What is our Zoom link? Can you send our Zoom link? So our Zoom link is always the same. It never changes, ever. So if you ever need to send someone a Zoom link very quickly and don't want to wait, just go ahead and send a past email and they should be able to access our club meeting link every Thursday. It'll always be the same and it never changes. So just wanted to let everyone know that if you need to do that quickly. Okay, any questions? No questions?
I just want to add, you can also put the Zoom link on your notes section in your phone and then just hop on Zoom and type it in, because I always miss the email myself. So I just have it in the notes section and it makes it super easy.
Yeah, hopefully we won't need Zoom links anytime soon. And Denise says, to share a video, cut and paste the web address and drop down the presentation you want to see, or start the video and cut and paste the YouTube address. Yep. Okay.
Hey, Aaron.
Yes, Fred?
As we go out, can I just share a quote I heard the other day that just about made me stop in the middle of the street as I was driving?
Please.
Maybe an inspirational thing. So I guess I've realized this before, but it was just so succinct, and maybe you've all heard, some of you have heard it and will know where the reference is from, but it was simply, change happens at the speed of trust. And when I heard that, I thought, oh my gosh, yes. And that's what allows us as a club to, I think, do so many things so quickly. It what allows us to share, that we have that sense of kind of trust among us. Dr. Lin's story today, he was so open about it. I hope part of it because of the trust he has in us group as a community. And so as I'm listening here, it struck me again. So I just wanted to share it to all of you.
Thank you so much, Fred. That was very nice. All right. Don't forget, next week our program is Dr. Lori Morgan, President and CEO of Huntington Hospital. If you have those questions, please get them over to Barbara Bice is it today, Barbara? You said?
Sure.
Yeah, today. Okay, thank you so much, Barbara, and to the programs committee for putting that together for us. Our returns and guests, thank you for joining us today. Thank you so much for coming today, Diane. Nice to meet you. We look forward to seeing you again soon. The February 2nd, 2021 meeting of the Rotary Club of San Marino is adjourned. Thank you all.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. Thank you for your help today, Denise and Mike. Thank you so much.
Thank you for making me smarter. I need it.
Great meeting, Aaron.
Thank you, Fred. Thanks for filling in, Fred. Thank you so much.
Aaron.
Bye.
Thank you, Maurice.
Bye, guys.
Thank you all.